I'm a car guy. Turns out I'm a horrible driver. So, like, first day of school, I run into the kid next to me's, like, car where he's parked
Oh
next to me.
no.
And I was like, oh, Charles, he's my friend. I'll just talk to him tomorrow and we'll sort it all out. He didn't feel the same. So, he was pretty upset. The cops got involved, all that stuff. My mom got a phone call and was like, hey, your son's been in an accident.
Welcome to BodyShop Leaders, the podcast where we spotlight the people, decisions, and leadership moments shaping the future of the collision repair industry. I'm your host, Daniel Burkholder. Today's guest is someone who embodies what shop floor leadership really looks like. Todd McGee is the owner of Johnson Auto Body in Knightdale, North Carolina, a nearly 30-year-old shop known for its culture, community impact, and national recognition as one of ATI's top collision repair shops. Todd's journey didn't start in the office, it started in the paint booth. And over the years, he's grown into a leader who's kept the family values at the center while modernizing his business. If you're an independent shop owner or part of a growing MSO trying to lead better, build culture, and stay grounded, this conversation's for you. Todd, thanks for coming on our podcast.
Hey, Daniel, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Excellent. Such a pleasure to have you here. We're just going to jump right in, Todd. So I'm going to just back up a little bit to set the stage. I like to start with how it all began because leadership usually starts long before the title. So, Todd, how did you first get into the collision repair industry?
It's pretty funny. So when I was a kid, I was completely obsessed with cars, anything mechanical, stuff like that. I loved gadgets and taking things apart, fixing things, all that stuff. And I was kind of going down the mechanical road because that's the only kind of school they had around me. So anyway, I was going through all those classes. Anyways, finally learned how to drive. I'm excited. I'm a car guy. Turns out I'm a horrible driver. So like first day of school, I run into the kid next to me's like car where he's parked
Oh
next to me.
no.
And I was like, oh, Charles, he's my friend. I'll just talk to him tomorrow and we'll sort it all out. He didn't feel the same. So, he was pretty upset. The cops got involved, all that stuff. My mom got a phone call and was like, hey, your son's been in an accident. Of course, she's worried. She's like, hey, what happened? We don't really know. He fled the scene, is what she. And so, anyways, of course, I got in a lot of trouble there. But, anyways, had to go get my friend's car taken care of. So, my mom had a friend that managed a body shop. And so we took it there, got it all fixed. And when I was there, I talked to him because at the time I was working at like Hardee's, like a hamburger restaurant. And I was like, well, if you ever have an opening, I'd really be interested because I love being around cars. And sure enough, that summer he called me up and said, hey, do you want to come up here, help clean up the shop and stuff like that? And I was super excited. So I jumped on that and pretty much fell in love with it right off the bat. And so what was cool about that shop, it wasn't a very nice shop, but what was neat is there's a lot of turnover. So I really got to try and do a whole lot of stuff, and they let me do a lot of stuff. So I got to learn a lot. And eventually I really fell in love with painting. So that's what kind of led me down that road. So I followed my manager there to another shop, another guy there that I became friends with, a body man that was a good guy, and he moved to a nicer shop from there. And he's like, Todd, you should really come with me. This is going to be a good opportunity for you. So I went and followed him, and that guy, great boss. He really nicest guy ever, but he was really not the best businessman, I guess. So after a year or two, he started going under, and at that point, I talked to like the paint reps that go around to the paint shops, things like that, and he's like, "Well, I got these people over in Knightdale that are looking for a painter," and at this time, I was like 19 years old at that point. So I went and talked to him, and it was Rosie. It was Mike and Rosie. That was my old boss, Mike and Rosie Johnson. I went over and introduced myself to Rosie because you couldn't get to talk to Mike. He was back in the shop working. And I talked to her once and gave her all my info, and then went back along, back to work. And then another week goes by, and I hadn't heard anything from him. And so I went back, stopped by the shop again, and that's when they were like, "Well, you seem like a nice kid and all, but I don't think you got the experience that we're looking for." All right, I understand. I'm a 19-year-old kid. I get it. Well, another week or two goes by, and finally, the place I was currently working went under. So I had nothing else to do. So I finally went over there. I said, "Look, guys, I don't have anything to do today. You don't have a painter. How about I just hang out, work for you guys for free for the day, and you just let me know if you want me to come back?" And so that's what I did. And went a few days, a week there where I was like, you want me back the next day or what? Like, turns out 17 years later, I get to help them retire and take over their shop. So that's pretty cool.
That is so cool. So you went there and offered to work for free. That's amazing. And obviously you did good work and they wanted you to stay around.
Oh, what's funny is I know like within that first week, I did mess up a car horribly. And I felt bad, because nobody wants to mess anything up, especially
Right.
I'm still nervous. But I was able to fix it all and it took care of it. And he still was amazed that I was able to fix whatever that mess I made. I don't know. It was crazy, but
Next question that I have here is obviously you didn't just inherit this leadership, you earned it. You started there working for free and working on the shop floor, learning how to paint. Obviously, you had some experience and you started as a painter. How did those early, like hands on years shape how you now lead the shop today?
so, starting at the bottom, working your way through a shop, you really have respect for every level of every job in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So I treat everyone here, like every job is just as important as every other job here because, everybody
Mm-hmm.
here does rely on the other person to pull their weight and make sure that the whole machine's running smooth.
Right.
So I always keep that in mind, whenever we're talking about something or dealing with the issue or whatever, always with respect and it's always mutual respect because they all know that I've worked back there. I'm not some guy that's just sat in an office and I've been in their shoes. I've dealt with what they're dealing with most of the time. And it works out well here. That way we all seem to get along pretty good.
That's great when you can take your past experiences and then apply that to how you lead today because you walked their shoes. That is great. Now, Todd, I guess my next question is when you obviously went transition from that technician painter into ownership, taking over a business with a strong legacy like Johnson Auto Body, it's an honor and it's also a responsibility. So when you stepped into that ownership after the Johnsons, what did carrying out that legacy mean to you personally and what does it mean now to you?
Well, it was extremely important to me to make sure that, you know, Mike and Rosie were proud of the direction that the shop kept going and things like that. Cause, they're like my family, like
Mhm.
we worked together for 17 years. And they're great. They're great mentors. They helped me with a lot. And all the advice over the years that they gave me and other people that I worked with here gave me, like that was what made it possible for me to do all of this. But it was really nice to be able to keep it all in the family when they did retire so that, we didn't just get sold out to some big conglomerates or anything like that. We still
Right.
keep our family values here and it's still family. There's some of the guys here still one of the guys worked here longer than me and most of the other guys have been here 10 plus years, so it's I don't know, it's really important to me to have a great place to work really.
Right.
you know
Right. That's amazing that you can continue keeping your people like that is really speaks well to leadership, which kind of takes me, Todd, takes me right into my next question as well. So I believe every great leader has a moment when they realize that leading people is harder than fixing cars, where they probably wish they could just go paint a car sometimes or go fix a car. What's one leadership mistake you made early on that fundamentally changed how you lead your team today?
well so I agree that there's still days where it's like, man, I just want to go back there and paint a car.
Right?
But yeah, so some weird stuff that I did early on was, all right, there was a lot of good stuff we did early on.
Sure. Yes.
Like it was really cool to get to, you know all the things that weren't working right in the shop before, all the guys that worked together, we all got to brainstorm and kind of create new
Mm-hmm.
processes and all of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff and really get the shop on track because it used to be just a conventional body shop. It didn't really have direction every day, but so it was cool. We got to go through everybody that worked here, got to be involved in creating all of our regular you know, SOP and processes and all that stuff. But some of the weird stuff I did that I wish I'd been better at it off the get go was I tried to make rolls up that were like to people's strengths. And as long as you have those people there, it was working, but if one person stepped out of a role or something, it was madness. So that's one thing I really am trying to, make sure that we have roles and this is what we're doing kind of thing. The other thing was, coming out of a shop, I knew how to work on cars. I had no idea how to run a business at all.
Right.
So it was just like, it was just fix more cars to pay the bills. Cause that was it. Just fix more cars. And then eventually you
Yeah.
get where you're fixing a lot of cars and you're like, oh man, I'm not making any money. What's going on here?
Right.
And so I kind of had to regroup. I'm a PPG shop, so they have a bunch of great classes, which you've heard from a lot of other people on your podcast that
Right.
they have great classes. And then getting involved with ATI, that was like their
Sure.
coaching program.
Yes.
I wish I had done that earlier on because that's what really helps me stay focused and on track because I can get a little scatterbrained. And, that really keeps me aligned and keeps like us headed in the right direction. And I wish I had gotten on that earlier. That way I kind of knew the numbers part of it better.
Right.
The PPG classes were amazing. We went through like green belt and like, gone through 5S the shop, which we probably need to
Hmm.
revisit. But like a lot of amazing classes. It's just a lot. I wish I'd gotten involved in a coaching program earlier, to be honest.
That is so fascinating to hear you say that, Todd. But I hear that time and time again when I'm talking to shop owners like you that they wish they had surrounded themselves with other people that knew what they were doing or had done what they're trying to do. Like just like you're doing with ATI, you're giving yourself access to resources and people and getting into rooms with people that have done what you want to do. That's amazing. And also leveraging like PPG's assets. That's a great thing to be doing. So yeah, really cool to hear you say that. I feel like there's a common thread that I see through a lot of the episodes here at Body Shop Leaders is that thing of getting into the right rooms, spending time with the right people can be transformational in building successful shops. So love to hear you say that. Let's talk a little bit about culture. So a lot of shops probably have a poster on the wall that talks about their culture. But culture is more than that. It's something that shows up in the shop every day. So, what are some non negotiable values or behaviors that you want to see from your team there at Johnson Auto Body?
So the main thing is, I lead by example for sure. That's what I try to do. And doing
100%.
that, it's nothing crazy. It's just do the right thing.
Right.
It's always just do the right thing. That's gotten me very far in life. This this far at least is just do the
Right.
right thing, and try to do your best. We all understand like nobody's perfect, but as long as you're trying to do your best and most of
Mm-hmm.
the time you get a little bit better at whatever you're doing every day, eventually you get really good at what you're doing. I don't have some secret sauce or anything. It's really just, do the right thing by the customers, by everybody here at work, everything you're doing. Just as long as you have that in your head that, is this the right thing to do, then we seem to be going in the right direction.
I love that. It's so simple. Like, really,
It,
I think sometimes maybe we overcomplicate this thing of culture. Just do the right thing. And then you, as the leader, you lead by example. You just do it. And then that sets the pace. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's I like being involved in the community and stuff like that too. It comes in the shop to, if everybody
Right.
in the shop sees that we're always out there doing good things in the community, helping other people out and stuff like that, I feel like it bleeds into the shop and really just like the people I work with. So, and I like to keep it that way. So, as long as you're hiring and working with people that you actually enjoy being around, the culture thing seems to be easier, you know?
That is a great point. So hire people that you can actually be friends with in real life and you can hang out with after work that you enjoy being around.
Yeah, so like early on when I was hiring people, when I interview somebody, I would have them come in and say, "Hey, can you come paint a car with me? I'll pay you to paint a car after work one night and we'll hang out." Well, they didn't really understand that the painting the car, yeah, I need to know they could paint a car or fix something.
Sure.
But the more important thing was I wanted somebody that I could actually talk to like a normal person and have a conversation with and actually seem like I'd get along with every day because we're here almost as much as if not more than with our families sometimes.
Right?
And I want to be around people that I like being around. It makes the days go a lot better.
There is so much truth to that. I'm glad you brought that up. Just hiring those people that you like to be around, that you can connect with, you vibe with. And I'm sure there's probably very talented people that you could bring into your shop, but you wouldn't vibe with them, and it would affect your culture.
Yeah,
That's a great
exactly.
advice. Great advice. So, Todd, you mentioned something else about putting people first, and that kind of leads me into another question that I wanted to discuss with you. You said that you'd put your own family in a car repaired by your shop. Why is that standard so important to you?
Well, so I feel like at a shop that should be like the minimal standard, to be honest. Like that's extreme. I would hate to have someone say, "Well, I'm gonna fix your car," but I wouldn't put my kids in that car. Like you don't want that. So I mean, it goes back to just doing the right thing. Like
Right.
keeping that in mind. Like, we're in a small town. We're fixing all of our neighbors or people from churches, cars, or I mean anybody. These people are on the road all around you and they're part of the community and you want to make sure you're taking good care of them. Like that's the name of the game, right? Like this.
Yes. Agreed. But I think sometimes we can lose sight of that in the hustle and bustle of things. But I love, may I call it kind of that small town view of these are my friends, these are my community, these are the same people I go to church with, I shop at the same grocery, I my kids go to school with their kids. It's that small town community where it's the bare minimum that we fix their vehicles like we would want to fix ours.
Right,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that though. That's so good. Excellent. You got an award from ATI, I understand. And typically, to win an award, it doesn't just come by luck. There's normally something that's being done correctly. So, Johnson Auto Body was named a top collision repair shop nationally. So, what habits, systems help to get you there?
Well, I don't know. I think it might have been some luck. I don't know. But anyways, so we've been lucky enough. We've been recognized a few times. We've won top automotive shop in our county a few times. And then it was really cool to get recognized as a top shop with ATI. But
Mm.
I mean, I think it more goes back to the customer first mentality there where, like we really genuinely try to do our best. From the beginning to the end with the customers. Because like especially locally stuff, I don't know who nominates us for things like that. I've never entered ourselves into any of these kind of things. But I guess you never know like who's going to be that person that's like, "Hey, you know what? I'm really going to push these guys up this ladder to have them recognized." So if you treat everybody the best you can and do the best job you can, then stuff like that happens. I don't
Amazing.
um, I mean, I know we are like involved in a lot of stuff in the community and things like that, and I'm a Rotarian too, so that's another one of those organizations that's always giving back around town. I don't know. It goes back to just doing the right thing, man. Like
Doing the right thing.
that's it. And then every once in a while you get lucky and somebody recognizes it, and you're like, oh, that was really cool. Like,
Right. No, that's great, simple advice there again. It's just do the right thing and follow those systems. Just keep repairing cars correctly. Like you said, being involved in the community, that also is beneficial. Let's shift this conversation just a little bit. What do you think most shop owners are struggling with right now, but maybe not openly talking about?
well, I think the struggle, at least that I assume a lot of people are going through the same struggles as me, because I'm a normal guy with a body shop, and I talk to a lot of other shop owners and stuff that
Hmm.
I've got
Hmm.
a nice little network of friends, and it seems like to me that's the struggle right now is the battle between doing the right thing, fixing the car right, and insurance companies and getting it all taken care of for customers. And that's a struggle right now, I feel like, because the more and more that all the OEMs have been getting involved in all of that stuff and telling us, hey man, this is what you got to do to fix the car right. It's not always on the same page with insurance companies.
Right.
And trying to make sure that, you know, you're riding that line where you're not running customers off because you got to explain to them all the right way to do things and they might have like budget insurance or something like that. You're trying to walk them through the processes. That's a struggle for us every day is trying to make sure you're still able to do the right thing and try and minimize out of pocket expenses with customers and things like that, it's tough. And it seems like it's not getting any easier this year with that stuff. I don't know. There's a lot of people that need help with marketing too, like you do.
Mhm.
Like the Google stuff is a big thing nowadays. Like that's what I
Mhm.
think that helped me grow.
Amazing. No, I think you bring up some very valid points there, especially around the disalignment between OEM procedures, repairing the car correctly, and what insurance is willing to pay for. And may I ask how you're trying to walk that line? I know it's tough. Like, how are you guys navigating that?
It's extremely difficult for us. It's like some of my guys here that've been doing this for 30 years, they still have that mindset that the insurance company's supposed to pay for everything and that's their job and that's it. It's hard. We're still trying to get better at it, like trying to have those conversations with customers to make sure they
Mm,
understand, the why behind things.
yeah.
I
So basically, it sounds to me like it's just having those difficult conversations, trying to lead through making sure everybody understands what's going on. And that can be hard. And like you said, there can be mindset shifts that have to be made, whether it's the customer, whether it's the guys in the shop. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle there, isn't there?
yeah.
So now I have a really hard question for you, Todd. Many owners that are shop owners that are listening to this podcast, they're in the trenches and maybe they're feeling tired or overwhelmed or unsure of what their next move should be. So if you were sitting across from a shop owner who feels burned out or they're stuck, what advice would you give them today?
To be honest, I would network with other shop owners. That's the biggest thing, is to have somebody else
Yeah.
that you can talk to about stuff. I know it's great for me to have, besides like I have my coach that I talk to every week that I'm able to walk through things with and talk to things and then get involved in like a 20 group or other,
Mm-hmm.
being in a networking group with other shop owners that are kind of going through the same thing. It really seems to help when you're not the only person
Right.
that's doing that and or going through the same things, because everybody's got the same struggles. And it's always nice to be able to bounce stuff off other people, because being a body shop owner, there's not that many people. It's not an everyday thing, so
Right.
it can be lonely if you don't have other
Mm-hmm.
people to talk to. And I get so much out of talking to people, like talking to other body shop owners. Like every time I go to a class or something, I mean, I'll learn stuff at a class, but I seem like I get more out of just talking to other people, other shop owners,
Right.
and get
Right.
more out of that than the class most of the time.
Right.
So that's what I would recommend, and making sure you're keeping a positive attitude on things, because that helps everything, you know. Not getting
Right.
down in the dumps and stuff like that, because like everybody's dealing with stuff, there's always a solution. You just got to figure it out, and having other people to bounce those things off of usually seems to help me.
Great advice. That is so true. And I think everybody that's listening to this should take that seriously. If you're not part of some type of group of shop owners, go find that group today. I think such a good piece of advice. Well, we have one final question, Body Shop Leaders, that we wrap up our episodes with. So, Todd, what does being a body shop leader mean to you?
To me, I try to be a mentor and a teammate at the same time, because we're all on the same team. We're all trying to get to the same place, trying to do a good job for our customers and stuff like that, and really creating a culture where everybody feels valued. I enjoy having a personal relationship with everybody here at the shop,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
seems to help me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
us all be on the same page and point
Right.
the ship in the right direction.
That resonates so well with me, having that type of personal relationship and caring. I can tell you care about each of your team members. That truly is leading. Yeah, great answer. Appreciate it. Very good. Well, Todd, thank you for sharing your story, your leadership lessons, and the heart behind what you've built at Johnson Body. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I really enjoyed it. And it was a good time.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure having you here. So, to everyone listening, if this episode resonated with you, share it with another shop owner who needs to hear it. This is Body Shop Leaders powered by Body Shop Marketing, helping collision shops grow smarter, lead stronger, and stay independent. I'm Daniel Burkholder. We'll see you next time.